In the town of Orleans. It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. We're meeting in the Nauset Room. It's just about 5:02 p.m. On our agenda is the login information if you'd like to join us by Zoom. Also, if you'd like to dial in by phone, there's the dial-in number as well. So I'll call us to order. Welcome everybody to the meeting in person, by Zoom, and just for the record, Select Board members here this evening with us are Andrea Shaw-Reed, Michael Herman, myself, your chair, Kevin Galligan. Mark Matheson is from a beautiful distant location on the screen. Welcome, Mark. Our town staff, town manager, Kim Newman, assistant town manager, Mark Reel. Welcome, everybody, to the meeting. First item, Michael, would you read the preamble, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We acknowledge with respect that we're inhabiting the traditional lands of the Wampanoag peoples, who have always existed here. We value their roles as past, present, and future guardians of this land.
Thank you. And I was remiss in not recognizing Laura St. John Dupuy, our executive assistant. Thanks, Laura. Select Board members have any announcements? Nope.
Right now?
Mark, you don't have any announcements from Vacation Land? Come on. All right.
Hey, it's 85 and sunny down here.
All right.
Stop.
I'll just say, quick using announcement as an agenda item, just to thank everybody for all the support for clearing out hydrants. That was a request when our fire chief was last here with us, and I actually see a lot more accessible points. Hope they never have to be used, but safety first. All right, anyone here for public comment? I see no hands raised in the room. Anyone on Zoom, Peggy, for public comment?
No hands raised.
Okay, we'll close public comment. Next item, board committee interviews and appointments. Architecture review. Is Kara Varth here? Kara, come on up, Kara. Let us know very briefly why you'd like to serve. That's fine, sure. And welcome.
Oh, thank you. My name is Kira Vath, and I'm just at that point in life where I feel like I want to become more involved in the town. And based upon what I do, I'm an interior designer. I first came to the Cape in the 90s. I worked for a designer here in Orleans for 9 years, and then eventually I went off on my own and started my own business. So I've had my own interior design business here in Orleans for over 20 years. Wow. So I've been coming to the Cape ever since I was born. I fell in love with it when I was really young, and I just feel like the Architectural Review Committee would be a good fit based upon my experience and my love for the Cape, and yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Any questions of Kira from the ward?
Thank you for serving.
Yes.
Yeah, I would just say thanks for stepping up. I mean, we all, as board members, get assigned as liaisons to different boards. And I remember my duration with the Architecture Review. I've told this story many times, so I'm going to bore my fellow board members. But if you look at Skaker Corners, the Chase Bank, I've told this story many times. They have to go through Architecture Review relative to colors and, roofs. And the first meeting, the members of the Architecture Review said, "Have you ever been to Cape Cod?" And they influence the ultimate design and improvements that were made. So it's really an important committee. A lot of people don't give credit to what this little regulatory board does, but it's typically informal. You have a really chance to back and forth with the presenters. But at the end of the day, you make a project that you'll actually be able to see for the rest of your life and say, I had something to do with that. So yeah, it's great.
I was just going to add, the timing is interesting because this iteration is the first time we've had real design guidelines as law. That's never happened before. So you're joining the board at a pretty interesting time.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Would you like a motion, Mr.
I
Chair?
would, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to appoint Kara Vath to the Architectural Review Committee as an associate member with a term ending 6/30/28.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Because we've got virtual, we'll do this by roll call. Mark, how do you vote?
Hi, Mark Matheson.
I'm Michael Herman.
Hi, Andrea Reed.
And I, Kevin Galligan. Welcome aboard. You'll get a letter from the town manager's office. It'll basically suggest you visit the town clerk soon, get sworn in, and you may serve.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I think we might think about also, because it came up in one of my board and committee, they weren't aware that they had to do conflict of interest training and open meeting law training. It's a little more than just get sworn in, but you'll be notified of those opportunities.
Yes, Molly did send me an email.
Great.
And it kind of listed everything that I have to do
Of course, Molly's
before I
on.
go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Next up, Chief McDonald. We have a quarterly update and a few other things to get to.
Let's see if I can get this thing fired up.
Oh, I gotta stand up.
And I would just say, Chief, as you're firing up, it really is impressive and makes me feel very happy to see a number of the members of the force, and welcome, everybody.
Good-looking group.
They are.
Yes.
Good afternoon. So, Michael, I'm not sure if you remember this, but several months ago, we talked about statistics. And historically, we would come in and I would present you with line by line. We had 26 OUIRS, and I'd go through. It's not real exciting stuff. It's important data, but it's not real exciting. So we talked a little bit about how can we make this a little bit more interesting. Here's our first attempt to do that. More categorizing things of interest. This is a work in progress, so we can certainly, I'm interested in your feedback and how we can improve this. Another portion that we're going to insert into this is short segments on topics of interest to be presented by various officers within the department, because you probably get sick of looking at my face, and this is a great opportunity for the board and our community to get the office, get to know the officers that serve the community. So this is not a quarterly report. Because it has been quite some time since I've been in here, we decided to do a 3-year look back. So that's what we're going to do this evening. And the first thing we're going to correct is the way we present this to the board, because this is not very user-friendly, and we really can't see too much. But I'm really going to just kind of go through this quickly. Before I get into it, I want to thank Sergeant Ben Dedinas. He is the officer that produced this document. He did a wonderful job, and he deserves all the credit for this. For calls for service, slight decrease in calls for service that can be attributed to self-generated activity. I think you're looking at a number there, roughly 900, maybe 1,000. Again, why is that? So when we collect calls for service, the total number, we're looking at response to requests for service, but we also calculate self-generated. So, for example, if we were to do the calculation of how many self-generated calls versus that each officer produced, and we did that by the number of officers that we have assigned on patrol minus the staffing limitations that we have, that would easily make up that number right now. All that said, our numbers are very, very consistent. With respect to response for calls, I am extremely pleased with what you see here. Our units arrive within 3 minutes or less on approximately 80 to 81% of the time. We do things very specifically. We have sectors within our community. Our resources are spread out so we can quickly respond to the community needs and have that evenly distributed based on call volume and staffing. Next, I'll get into major crimes. So in felony offenses in 2023, we had 90. In 2024, we had a slight decrease down to 72. And then that jumped back up to 91 in 2025. These are important that you understand, because these are many of these are very complex cases that take a lot of time. When we looked at the future of the Orleans Police Department, what our staffing needs would be, at the patrol level, I'm very comfortable where we are. But I think in the future, we need to take a hard look at where we are in investigations. So when I see it adding personnel to the staff, it will be in investigations in the future. Right now, we're okay, but that's something we're keeping a close eye on. Lynn was kind enough Brunel was kind enough to send a couple questions over that I could expand on a little bit for clarity. So what is public order offenses? And again, I know this is a little difficult to see up there. So public order offenses is disorderly conduct, public intoxications. I don't want to refer to them as minor issues, but they are issues that don't rise to the level of felonies. Quality of life issues are like graffiti and littering, essentially things that impact the quality of life in Orleans, things that our citizens see day in and day out. Traffic stops. As you know, you've heard me say this many times, the most frequent complaint that I get from our citizens revolves around roadway safety. We do everything we can. We try to think outside the box, strategize how we can be more visible out there. I'm very pleased to report, and you can see that on the document, that over the 3-year period, in increments of 50%, we have jumped over 100% in the number of motor vehicle stops conducted. And that is a specific tactic that we're taking, again, to try to reduce the risk of collisions on our roadways. Major crashes, get to that. Here we go. So we have break it down by specific roadways that we have that are more active. You can see there are no significant issues that we have. We're seeing a trending decline in crashes on Route 6A and West Road, South Orleans Road. Had a slight uptick from the numbers that were in 2023. I want to talk a little bit about property crime. Make sure I got the right location here for you. Oh, forgive me here.
That's okay.
All right, we're going to trash that. We're going to move on right off my notes. Just to clarify a little bit, what is property crime? Because I'm going to get into crime rates in a moment. Property crime is a category of offenses that involves the taking or damaging of someone else's property. And that does tie into the uniform crime reporting through the FBI. Violent crime involves physical force or the threat of physical force. Very, very pleased. I just pulled some numbers. The numbers came out recently for 2024. Those came out in the fall of 2025. Total crime in Orleans is 61.2% lower than the national average. Violent crime in Orleans is 58.7% lower than the national average. And property crime is approximately 61.7% lower of the national average. This makes Orleans among the safest communities, not only regionally, but on the national stage. And I'll just say this, that is a result of those folks sitting out there in the back of the room. So that's what I have for you in terms of the comparison. Obviously, the material we actually submitted is in much more detail than I presented verbally here tonight. So if you have any questions or any guidance on how you would like me to move forward in the future with this type of material, please, I'm all ears.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. And for anybody listening, if you open the Select Board packet, as the Chief indicated, there's a wealth of knowledge and data on the statistics. But I agree, in terms of your comment, in terms of this quality of the community overall, as we heard when we went through budget a few minutes ago, we have beautiful environment, resources. I'm looking at the deputy. We now have nice paved roads. So I'm assuming a few traffic stats in the coming years may be going the other way. But, you're right. A safe community means a welcoming place. And we appreciate all of what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
If it pleases the board,
Please.
I referenced the short segment that we're going to do on e-bikes, and if I could invite Kristen Zimber up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
How you doing?
Good.
So this is just a quick segment on electric bicycles. We have dealt with these a lot in the last couple of years. They're kind of evolving quickly. Massachusetts laws are a little behind the times with classifying all of these, but go through what we have on here. Okay, so first we'll just go over the classifications. There's 3 types, class 1, 2, and 3. Class 1 e-bike is a low-speed bicycle. It's equipped with a motor that provides assistance only when the rider's pedaling. It's called the pedal assist. Ceases to provide assistance once the bicycle reaches 20 miles an hour. So class 2, very similar as well. The only difference is this also has a throttle on it. Again, ceases to provide assistance at 20 miles an hour. A class 3 electric bicycle is just anything that doesn't fall into classes 1 and 2. So again, anything that exceeds 20 miles an hour or 750 watts on the motor. Okay, so licensing, registration, and helmet requirements for class 1 or 2. Class 1 or 2 is treated by Massachusetts the same way a regular bicycle would be. So it doesn't require license or registration. Helmets are required for anyone under 17. Can be operated on any public way under the same rules as standard bicycle. The only exception is that e-bikes aren't allowed on sidewalks anywhere in the town. The class 3 e-bike regulations, like I said, Massachusetts doesn't recognize class 3 as its own classification. They're going to fall under either a designation as a moped or a motorized scooter, depending on the speed. So a moped only provides power up to 30 miles an hour, requires a valid license or permit, and registration, can be ridden on all public roads once these requirements have been met, and must abide by all traffic laws. The motorized scooter does not have a maximum speed. However, anyone operating above 20 miles an hour can be issued a citation for speeding. Again, it does not require registration, but it does require a valid license or permit, and again, can be ridden on all public roads once these requirements have been met. Any machine that does not meet these specifications, so you see the one wheels getting ridden around a lot, those cannot be registered or operated on any public roadways. These can be seized and the applicable citations can be issued. Okay, so in summary, any electric bicycle which exceeds 20 miles an hour requires a valid license or learner's permit to be operated. A registration may be required as specified in the previous slide. All operators must wear a helmet regardless of age, and no bicycles are allowed on sidewalks. And all operators must abide by all traffic rules when on a public road. Any questions?
I have quite a few.
Please.
You want, your,
Doesn't matter. I'm sure they're the
so,
same.
I think we're starting the education process here tonight.
Yes, sir.
This is a beginning, because we know none of this stuff is being complied with. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
So, we've hosted J1 students now for over 20 years, and to get them to wear a helmet is like impossible. But now they are utilizing not just e-bikes, but my first question is, what about the e-scooters? I didn't see that in the list. Where do those guys fit?
So like
in?
the ride-on scooters?
yeah.
So if it's not designated by the RMV, which they don't have one for that specific kind of scooter,
Right.
that again is not allowed on public roadways.
So not allowed, but you see it. So what are you all guys doing as you're seeing these not allowed things?
Yep. So like you said, at this point, a lot of people aren't aware
Right.
of the rules.
Right.
I've personally stopped a lot of usually juveniles on the electric bicycles, typically going with the educational kind of aspect. But again, it's the laws are so far behind, so it's a lot of people aren't aware of what can and can't be ridden,
Yeah.
what requires a license, what doesn't. So that's a lot of education.
Kevin, we don't want to be the fun police.
No.
But at the same time, our focus is on public safety. And you can see out of local news stations, there's been some tragic accidents involving these types of mode of transportation. And to Christian's point, this is evolving quickly. And we're wrapping our heads around this at the same time as we're trying to, we just had this training internally within the last month. So now that we have a better understanding, we want to bring it to you as a board and to the public, with the understanding, this is changing rapidly.
Yeah.
You know, when Christian enlightened me on the regular kind of scooters that we used to know, it's like, well, that can't be on the road? Well, I didn't know that. So again, we're not gonna be out there writing a lot of tickets. We want to educate, and
Right.
we want to see how this evolves.
Yeah, yeah. And not that we want to ask them, because when you go to your legislative delegation, you sometimes don't get back what you thought. But is there a move afoot, either through public safety, you know, who you kind of indirectly report to, or does the legislature see a role for providing a little bit more of a fix to this?
At this point, I haven't heard of any repository that's collecting this type of data or
Right.
any issues that municipalities are. I suspect that will be coming. I
Yeah.
think there is going to be a change in direction
Has to be.
in terms of additional regulations, because it's just so complex. To be honest with you, for the first few months, we didn't know how to handle this. But now, through guidance of the Mass Chiefs Association, they are extremely helpful in putting out some
Good.
guidance to help us. And Christian has really drilled down deep into this, educating himself and in turn educating our department. So,
Nice.
Kevin, to answer your question, at this point, no. I do suspect that will be coming in the near future.
Good information. Any questions? Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. You mentioned not on sidewalks. What about the bike path?
So the bike path is underneath the Department of Conservation and Recreation, so they have jurisdiction over that. I did actually call them earlier today to try to get some more answers on that. They didn't get back to me. But at this point, that is underneath their jurisdiction. I know it's posted, no motorized vehicles, whether they interpret the electric motor as motorized. I'll look more into that and I can get back to you on that.
That'd
Thank
be
you.
great.
Yeah, I think you see that, and you probably, if anybody who travels to Boston or anywhere around around the world, scooters now. It used to be the rental bikes where you could pick them up, where people would be traveling and rent them by the hour, whether it's a city bike or whatever company now. And generally, when you're traveling, you don't bring a bike helmet with you
Yes, sir.
when you're traveling. So I don't know what that's gonna, and whether we are going to allow businesses here to do that, because now I'm shocked to see that the bikes are even antiquated. It's all these scooter rentals where you just pick them up and drop them anywhere and use your credit card or your phone, and it's amazing how the streets are littered with these scooters internationally. So I guess we're gonna have to catch up, and I believe in Boston, they're now renting the scooters with the phone pickup and drop off, and I think it's something, whether it's us or the Conservation Commission, is going to have to address at some point soon. So it's for being ahead of it or being with it and letting us know this is appreciated.
Sir.
Andrew, you're thinking,
Yeah, only because I travel often to San Francisco, and they're all over the place, and they're in the bike lanes, not with regular traffic. They're in dedicated bike lanes. And I just didn't know what our expectation was for the summer in terms of people coming from national and international expectations from their own homes, hometowns.
Right. So again, I think just the stance of trying to educate first.
But educate to, you're not allowed on our streets? No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hostile statement for a seasonal community to make.
Right.
Again, I think it's important to clarify that, you know, the class 1 and 2 are welcome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so we have one of our police bicycles that community service officers have. Well, what a great benefit, because they're pedaling around all
Yeah.
over town, and it's so nice to have that. So it's not necessarily, we want to say no to that mode
Right.
of transportation. It's really into the class 3 that we technically don't have. I have seen, not in New Orleans, but in other towns, where you see these BMX-type bikes.
Yes.
They're doing 35 miles an hour.
But,
And it's not, and then this is what really needs to
Scary.
be corrected.
and
please.
can we keep articulating and by summer have some kind of public information that is part of this, but maybe a little more positive and short, so the public isn't surprised if they get stopped?
Yes, we can do that. We will work with Amanda. Is Amanda here? Sorry, Amanda, just add it to your list. we can work with Amanda and see if, we could even maybe produce a short video.
That would be great.
And really
Anything.
push that out and try to educate folks. And again, we hate to be those people.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, our purpose is public safety.
is public
So we want to
safety.
ensure that we're doing that.
On Route 28 at
Oh.
night.
Don't even go there.
Yeah.
So Chief, again, Amanda's a great resource to coordinate with, but just compliments to you guys. I don't know who is the Facebook monitor of the day back there, but your Facebook page is fun. It emphasizes the safety, everything from a lost dog to, I think this is another opportunity to put a, did you know? You know, just use your Facebook, audience, because you have thousands of followers. You know that. And you always make it, as Andrea's saying, friendly and, something people enjoy reading as opposed to, oh, it's them again. No, most people like what you post, which is what keeps them coming back.
And I really think this is a great opportunity too, because so many people attend or watch at home. How do you feel about this short segment? We don't want to, I know you guys are really busy, we don't want to put a half-hour presentation.
Oh, this is
on,
good.
But
Love
short.
it.
Oh,
Next
yeah,
in the
no, we
queue,
want this, yeah.
Kevin, I know you and I talked briefly a while ago,
Yep.
is the public use of drones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of questions about that, so
Yeah.
Lieutenant McLaughlin will be putting on the next short segment of that for our next review.
And I would, if I could add to
Please.
that we make sure that we are addressing at the public works and the beaches. Because I think the use of drones down there
Yeah.
is that, on the outer beach and things like that with wildlife is definitely I don't know if it's the same thing or it's under the conservation like the bike path, so.
Lieutenant McLaughlin, I think he has all these fancy certifications and qualifications, so I will let him speak to that when he does the presentation.
He's registered through the FAA. So just a quick one, Christian, thank you for this presentation, and not to respond tonight, but you're young enough to be ready for robo-taxis and automated devices. That's whole nother
Yeah, yeah.
Pandora's box that I
Yes.
know our streets are not ready for, but I'm just saying. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief,
Keep 'em there.
next up.
Christian, you want to just stay up here? As you know, I submitted a memo to the board with respect to the sergeant's promotional process based on the performance, interview performance, as well as a comprehensive review of the prior work performance. I recommend that the Orleans Select Board approve the promotion of Officer Christian Ziemba to the rank of sergeant effective February 15th, 2026. And if I may, Christian has consistently demonstrated himself to be an exceptional officer, no questions about it. He possesses a strong work ethic and a clear understanding of our department philosophy on policing. He serves as a highly valued team member of this department, and I think that demonstrates it right there.
Just a note, the chief is pointing to the back row, which is filled with nearly all of the force, so
Not all, we got a couple out there on the
Gotta-
street, so don't get any ideas.
they're working, they're working.
You all agree with this, right? There we go, good.
All right.
Mr.
Is there
Chair,
a motion?
I would make a motion, if I may. I would move to approve the promotion of Officer Christian Ziemba to the rank of sergeant within the Orleans Police Department effective February 15th, 2026.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
I have to comment, as somebody who was on the receiving end of Officer Zimba's services, he's user-friendly.
Thank you. Mr. Matheson, any comments?
Good to see one of the local kids be able to stay here around the Lower Cape and make such a positive contribution. Congratulations, Christian.
Yep, well said. I will call for vote. Mark, all in favor?
I, Mark Matheson.
I'm Michael Herman.
Hi, Andrea Reed.
Aye, Kevin Galligan. Christian, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm just gonna say a few words.
Please.
Try to give my background. I know a lot of you don't know me, but I'm local, as Mr. Matheson said, or sorry, Mark Matheson. I attended the Nauset school systems. I went to the middle school here in town. I went to the high school in Eastham. Live in Eastham now. Started my career with Orleans as a community service officer, then got on as a dispatcher, and then now as a patrolman. And I just look forward to continuing to provide my service to this community.
Awesome. Thank you again. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right. And thanks for all of you as well. So,
Yeah, for showing up.
tell you guys, this is what makes it good
Yeah.
to serve. We do really enjoy. All right, we have a public hearing. It says we should do this at 5:30, and guess what? It's 5:32. Do I need to read the hearing notice?
I think so,
All right.
right?
You got it? Could I
Yeah, I can,
steal your? All right, folks, sorry for the delay. I do need to read this notice. Town of Orleans, public hearing, transfer of an annual off-premises package store, all alcohol liquor license. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of Massachusetts General Law. An application has been made to the Select Board by Fortuna, Inc., doing business as Main Street Wine and Gourmet, Catherine Harnett, manager, for the transfer of an annual off-premises package store all alcohol beverage license from Orleans Main Street Wine and Gourmet, Caitlin Gomes, manager. The location of the business is at 42 Main Street, Orleans, Mass. 02653. The premises is described as a 3,928 square foot, two-floor building with a basement, 2 entrances, and 2 exits. The Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026 at 5:30 PM at Orleans Town Hall in the Nauset Meeting Room, 19 School Road, Orleans, Mass., at which time all interested parties will be heard. Welcome.
Welcome.
That's a mouthful. So transfer.
So I'm Melanie O'Keefe, attorney for Fortuna, Inc., in connection with their acquisition of the business, and I will let Catherine speak to the board.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi. I'm here tonight with my husband, Brandon Chinchilla. As mentioned, we're here regarding the transfer of their liquor license for Main Street Wine and Gourmet. Main Street Wine and Gourmet is a very special store, one that has earned the trust of the community through thoughtful curation, expert staff, and responsible operation for more than a decade. A little bit about me professionally. Prior to moving to the Cape, I worked full-time as an event producer in New York City and have been involved in hospitality and the food and beverage industry since my first job as a teenager. That work has taught me to wear many hats and above all else problem solve. I grew up visiting my grandparents at their home in Eastham, but my relationship with this business began when I decided to move here full-time to go through the process of applying to graduate school and wanted a part-time job on the side. In October of 2018, I began working at the store, and it quickly became my favorite job that I've ever had. And while there is always more to learn, my years of experience as an employee have given me a strong foundational understanding of how the store operates. The current owners, Caitlin and Ryan Gomes, welcomed me not only into their business, but also into their community. So much so that they were actually the ones to introduce Brandon and myself. Brandon actually grew up here on Cape Cod and brings an unwavering work ethic, extensive small business management experience, and strong ties to the local community. Together, we are committed to running the business responsibly, maintaining its excellent reputation, and expanding its reach thoughtfully. Very early on, the four of us began talking, somewhat half-jokingly at first, about how amazing and special it would be if one day Brandon and I could purchase the store from them. Those conversations have been taking place around their kitchen table for just about 7 years now, so in many ways, this opportunity feels both like a dream and something we've been building towards for a very long time. Over the years, Caitlin and Ryan have become like family to us. They care deeply about the business and its success, as well as our own, and will remain involved as landlords of the building and mentors, providing valuable continuity as we begin this next chapter. Main Street Wine and Gourmet has been a part of Orleans for over a decade. Our goal is to honor what it already is while ensuring its continued growth and success for many years to come. Thank you.
Wonderful. Awesome. Any questions?
no, it's excellent, so, that's very exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. I think a motion might be in order.
Sure. Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the transfer of all alcoholic package store license for Orleans Main Street and Wine located at 42 Main Street from current holder Orleans Main Street Wine and Gourmet to Fortuna Inc. manager Catherine Hammett.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? And I didn't ask any folks in the audience if they'd like to comment, or anyone on Zoom. Not hearing any? Okay,
It's just lovely to see the next generation take over another local business.
it is.
It's fantastic.
And I do have one quick question, and it's like, we heard about advancing technology from, now a sergeant to be. Non-alcoholic tends to start to grow in interest. I've seen it in restaurants. Do you carry, or will you carry some NA?
There is currently a selection of products in the store that are NA. I think there's a big room for growth in terms of NA as well as low ABV products as
There
well.
we go, yeah. It's tough to keep up, but that's why you run these businesses, so. All right, with that said, we have to do this by roll call. Mr. Matheson, how do you vote?
I, Mark Matheson.
I'm Michael Herman.
Hi, Andrea Reed.
And I, Kevin Galligan. Congratulations, wish you
you
the
very
best.
much.
So,
Thank you.
love the story as well. All right, we have just a couple of minutes.
Public hearing.
Michael, if I could bother your use of the iPad, and as Kim said the other day, my reading of these meeting announcements can take up some time, so I'm going to turn to our Eversource public hearing poll petition. I see Marissa Jackson coming in, great. So I'll read the notice. On Wednesday,
Laptop.
February 4th, 2026, at 5:40 PM, which we're coming up to in the Nauset Meeting Room of Orleans Town Hall at 19 School Road, Orleans, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 166, Section 22. A public hearing will be held on a request submitted by NSTAR Electric Company, doing business as Eversource Energy, for permission to locate underground cables, conduits, manholes, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures in, under, along, or across Gibson Road, Orleans, Mass. 02653. The proposed work consists of the installation of approximately 50 feet of 1 to 3 inch conduit and one new manhole for connection to 51 Gibson Road. The installation will be in accordance with Plan Number 240-30664, filed with the Town Manager's Office and dated January 7th, 2026. Copies of the plan can be viewed in the Town Manager's Office during normal business hours, and interested parties are invited to attend the public hearing. So public hearing's opened. Marissa, good to see you. It is 5:40, so we're legitimate. Any highlights you want to provide us? I did see, and I'm looking at Rich Waldo, our superintendent of DPW, this is all underground, I take it?
That's correct. We have an existing pole along Gibson Road. From there, we'd like to install the one handhole, run the conduit under the road. I've confirmed we'd be able to mole bore, and the end point will be at a customer installed handhole, will be on their private property. And that is to provide service to 51 Gibson.
Great. I think that summarizes it. Rich from DPW, we saw, this is good from all
Yeah, I have no
departments.
comments with it. Certainly support it. Just want to remind Eversource that they do need to take out a road opening permit, even if it's a directional bore, and we'll process that at that point. So that can be picked up at DPW. Been through this before, shouldn't be a problem for them. So other than that, support it. The only other note that I made note of is that there looks to be a telephone pole that is between 51 and 53 Gibson Road, and whether that could be used to certify serve the property. But I suspect that's a private pole that was installed. So I just added the note, put consideration to it if it was possible. Otherwise, what they're proposing, we have no problem with.
Great, thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Any questions of the board?
The water department also had a note, so if we do the approval.
Incorporate that in the motion. And since this is a public hearing, is there anyone of the public wish to comment on this poll hearing? Anyone on Zoom, Peggy?
No hands raised?
Okay, could I get a motion to close the public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded on closing the public hearing. Do this by roll call. Mr. Matheson? I saw, he said aye.
Moved, yes.
I, Mark Matheson.
Thank
I'm
you.
Michael Herman.
I, Andrea Reed.
And I, Kevin Galligan. Public hearing's closed. Could we get a motion, if you're comfortable, on the approval with conditions?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the request for the installation of 50-foot plus minus of 1 to 3 inch conduit and one new handhold 29/H15-A as presented on the work request plan number 240306664 dated January 7th, 2026.
Can we add the conditions that were presented from the water and DPW?
Yes, adding conditions.
Okay, so we'll
With those conditions?
incorporate those conditions.
I second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All good? By roll call, Mark?
I, Mark Matheson.
I'm Michael Herman.
I, Andrea Reed.
And I, Kevin Galligan, approved. Marissa, you're all set. Good to see you as always. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You
All right.
too. We appreciate your time.
Okay, have a good evening.
You
All
too.
right, next up is vote to
Elizabeth.
consider the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board's recommendation to award the property at 22 Old Tote Road to the Housing Assistance Corporation. I see Elizabeth Jenkins coming up.
Thank you.
Progress
Chair Galligan.
continues.
It does, slowly. Elizabeth Jenkins, Assistant Director of Planning and Community Development, for the record. And a pleasure to be here tonight to provide an update and hopefully a final vote on the property over at 22 Old Tote Road. So obviously a property, 2 existing dwelling units, 2 existing underutilized office units, one that had been vacant for a long time. And through the generosity of Bob and Marjorie Sparrow, brought this to the attention of the town and indicated that they would be willing to part for it, certainly below appraised value, but I think definitely below market value for the property as well. It is connected to sewer. And so the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board and Select Board jointly issued an RFP for the property, again, seeking to create 4 units of housing with a minimum requirement that 2 of those units be deed restricted affordable, one at 80% AMI and one at 120% AMI, with a minimum bid price of on the property for $1. The deadline for those proposals was December 5th. We received 1 responsive proposal from Housing Assistance Corporation. It did seek, it did make the minimum bid for the property, which was $1, and Housing Assistance anticipates contributing an additional $474,000 into the property, almost a match for what we would be putting in improvements, which they would privately finance through a conventional loan. They again did meet the minimum requirements to deed restrict all units in accordance with the RFP, but we also know they are a nonprofit developer, a great partner in our community. So again, only 2 of the units would be deed restricted at the 80 or 120, but they have underwritten all of the rents in the development for all 4 of the units to essentially be equivalent to what we see being 80 or 100% rents. So essentially all units would be rented at about $2,000 a month
Nice.
going forward. The proposal anticipates renovations would begin in January 2027 with full occupancy of the property by July 2027. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board reviewed, the committee and the board reviewed the proposal and voted unanimously to award the RFP to Housing Assistance. The trust made that vote at their meeting on January 20th. As I'm sure you're aware, originally in this property, we hoped to avoid staying out of the chain of title and just having a P&S and assigning it after discussions with the Sparrows. And because of the length of time it took to put together this transaction, we did close on the property on January 9th. We have made arrangements with Orleans Housing Authority to manage it for us in the short term.
That explains the listing. Thank you. I saw it in the newspaper.
Okay, until we can hopefully transfer ownership in the short term over to a final buyer, which again today we are recommending. is Housing Assistance Corporation. But as you know, the trust, for all actions to purchase or dispose of property, does need a concurring select board vote.
Awesome job, Elizabeth. Questions of the board? Michael?
Thank you, Elizabeth. I know this has been a lot of work. I was, as you know, at the beginning of this on the Affordable Housing Trust for the year, and there were a lot of back and forth. So I appreciate all your efforts in putting this together and bringing 4 units of housing. I understand 2 are deed restricted. The one thing I didn't see in here is the others are they restricted for year-round rental?
So the next step in this would be to draft a development agreement with housing assistance. I believe one of the things that we would like to ensure going forward is that these units are year-round deed restricted
all the, you know,
going
right.
forward, either through a separate restriction or through the transfer and title to the property.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working so hard to get short-term rentals and, you know, and moving people downtown that are in year-round rentals, as we did with our zoning, which you put together. So that's something definitely I'd love to see added. And the other thing is, you know, Hack had done such an amazing job at 107 Main Street. And what they did was an all-electric development there. And I would really hope that that can also be in the agreement, that this too, even just smaller, much smaller, but only 4 units, that they're able to do the same amazing work by having it all electric. So,
Not in the RFP, but we could certainly have that conversation with them
Thank you.
during the development agreement.
Otherwise, I think this is fantastic, and it's great to see the partnership again, and I appreciate their Hack's willingness to jump in on this, and I think they were the only respondent to the RFP.
The only respondent.
Yeah, it takes a lot of creative thinking and innovative approaches to get this stuff done, so thank you for being a partner.
No, thank you, and thank you for all your patience. I know this was not an easy one. I consider myself a pretty good planner and planning director, but I'd never really put my hat on as sort of quasi-developer on this one, so I learned a tremendous amount. I think the trust did too, about sort of going through these processes and sort of what the development community may or may not accept in terms of projects. We had a lot of great conversations with developers and builders through this process to sort of make sure, see what would work and what might not. So I think overall, though, I think it's amazing to get four new year-round rental units and 2 deed restrictions out of this project.
Great. Andrea, anything?
Well, just having been part of the process like Michael for a while, I want to, Hack's mission is year-round stable housing, so I'm less concerned about that. But I also, it was lovely to see in the application all of these other projects that Hack has done, and wanted to give them a shout-out to the Sachem's Path in Nantucket, which is green construction. I didn't see solar panels, but that doesn't mean they aren't there. But that Hack really goes the distance to make housing that all of us would be happy to live in, quality housing that is deed restricted to year-round. So as a partner in the community, there's great trust that this will, that they bend over backwards to know where they are and where's home.
Well said.
Completely support that.
Mark Matheson, anything to add or comment?
I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion and vote, Kevin.
Okay, so noted. And I would just echo what you previously heard. Again, this actually may be more of what's to come. I think that, the large developments that we've, taken years to advance, like the Cape Cod 5 or like Governor Prince, may be the last of those scale and
We'll see.
size. You don't know, but I think these are the type of things that we're learning, as you said, Elizabeth, and might be more nimble next time, but they all have their quirks, don't they?
They are, and yes, certainly I think we're doing a lot of work, as outlined in our housing plan to figure out how to encourage that missing middle. And next time we come here to talk about a housing update, excited to tell you guys all about that.
But the tie to the Sparrow family, who's has had a local business forever and really gets the housing challenges, is another kind of intimate matchmaking, and the generosity of them to make sure that, they're doing their part to make sure that problem isn't quite as big, which is,
And we thank them.
wonderful.
We do, yeah.
I would just add to your point, I mean, these smaller projects, I'm hoping 44 Main Street, I know.
Yes.
You know, your time's been focused on this and so many other things.
Nope, now we got this one off the plate. I think that's a great next
Looking
one to
through our
fill
select
in.
board goals for the last 3 years, it's been there, and it's housing and economic development, it's all those wonderful things. And now that we had the amazing zoning that was passed, I'm really hoping we can all pull that together.
Exactly.
That's a topic for a later discussion. Thank you.
You ready for a motion?
I certainly am.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board's award of the property at 22 Old Tote Road to the Housing Assistance Corporation, and that we draft a development agreement to outline the terms of a purchase and sale agreement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll call for a vote. Mark, I know you indicated you're recusing, so we'll note your vote is recused. Andrea?
I, Andrea Reed.
I'm Michael Herman.
And I, Kevin Galligan. 3-0-1. So Elizabeth, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Item 11, Select Board Liaison Updates. I'll go to Mark. Anything, I know you mentioned Planning Board, Mark, so we already got a glimpse of their progress. Anything else to report on liaison?
Just, I know in terms of the planning board, they were, I didn't have a chance to follow up with them this week because I was gone, but they were looking to make sure they got in front of the select board with their, the plan,
The comp.
Comp plan?
comprehensive plan that they've been working on. You know, they got a finalized version. They want to meet with the select board first before it all goes to town meeting. So I know that needs to get scheduled.
I'm looking at our planner. Mark, any idea if they're thinking as soon as February 11th or more like first one in March?
I just, when I did meet with them, the last time I had a chance to meet with them, I suggested that the chairman speak with you.
Okay.
Just to get that scheduled so that they could coordinate that, because I knew I was gonna be out of town.
Okay.
Kevin, I did listen in on the meeting. They wanted to meet with us at a time where our planner had changed, so that is a conversation that needs to happen, because the date they picked is no longer a date we're having a meeting.
Okay. Anything else, Mark?
No, I think we were all at the, you were all at the school presentation at the high school last week, as they're working towards their budget, as is the Orleans Elementary School working towards theirs. So, onward through the fog.
Well said. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, if you.
Sure, please.
The library was a great meeting yesterday, and they were reviewing their budgets and some of their old collections. One thing they did mention, and I know they reached out to Mark, and there's some conversation about the CIP and maybe splitting their requests over multiple years, and I know you'll work with them on deciding whether it should be a lump sum or split between 2 years, design and construction. What else? Pedestrian and Bikeways had a presentation last night,
how'd
which
it
was
go?
very interesting. It was good. There was a lot of good feedback from the public. They presented some ideas. There's going to be a lot more presentations and feedback absorbed and that, but I think it was a great start to something that has been a topic in this town for a long, long time. So thank you to them. It's like most of these, they're not easy topics to generally jump on and move forward. And there's a lot of difference of opinions, if you will, and passionate opinions. So I commend them for continuing to move this forward, the discussion. What else? The ad hoc group for the Indigenous awareness and education, we met, and it's been proposed, and I need to then ask the select board and town staff and management. The idea is to have a dedication ceremony for the Indigenous marker that we voted at town meeting to put into Veterans Park. They're hoping maybe to do something during Arts Week and combine it and have some leadership from the Wampanoag come down and visit us and make the dedication with the artist, Robert Peters, and maybe have Chair of the Wampanoag, Chair Whedon, come join us, which we were at, I was traveling, but a lot of the group was at the dedication of the middle school, We Too, which was phenomenal, and the leadership of the Wampanoag came down and they incorporated the students, which was an excellent event. And just so that everybody knows, part of the funding that this group has used was from a town meeting warrant article that people supported, and we donated to the WE2, both at the Nauset Middle School, and we've donated to the ceremony for the dedication. So, and then future times to come, we had started this group as kind of a jumpstart with the article, and I'd love to either have it as a topic of discussion for the select board, what the future might be of this, and how we can incorporate it with our cultural arts and recreation in the future of Indigenous awareness and education. And that's the only meetings I had.
Great. Andrea?
Had lots of meetings. Work is going on. The one I really want to give a shout out to, because it was storm-related, is the Council on Aging. There's an issue, and I think it should be on a future agenda. When we have private roads, and they have not emergency service, but absolutely essential services, so Meals on Wheels, oxygen tank deliveries, any kind of supportive care for any individual, doesn't matter if they're old or young and disabled, because town services can't be delivered on an unplowed road or an unplowed driveway, but it's yet private property. And so the way we have with our private roads, we have emergency access mandates, brush cleared to a certain height, but we need to talk about that for non-emergency but still essential. And I think come up with some kind of guideline or policy, because the COA was inundated with calls and they didn't have a way to navigate or produce plowing services. So I would like us to wrap our head around this and just survey if there are other kinds of services in town to private roads where we need to kind of wrap our heads around it in a future agenda item.
Interesting. Yep.
So lots of other committees with stuff going on, some of it working towards town meeting, some of it open space convened with a couple of different departments to update on progress with 72 Tonsett Road. People are busy planning for the summer and getting programs together. It's great.
Planning for the summer.
Yeah.
What a great thought. I love that thought.
Well, Arts Week is
Yeah.
big, and a kids' art show possibly. So lots of work going on.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Couple ones from me. One is, as Mark mentioned, we were at the Nauset Regional High School the other day, heard a really good readout of the preliminary budget from the superintendent and his supporting principals. A lot of folks were there demonstrating, they're pulling together, including the changes that have occurred in their finance area. All interim people that are pulling things together. And in fact, folks should know that they are moving to the same accounting platform that all of us have used for decades, what we've called Munis, but it's Tyler Technologies. So that will actually be a great improvement. It's going to be a lot of work from now until June for them to transition, but it'll make us at least all consistent, or as they say in technical term, in sync.
Yes.
Literally, we can transfer stuff back and forth.
Same categories.
Yeah. So that's a positive. They also offered, for those of us who could get there in advance, a tour of the new facility, which was awesome. Really was. I will just also say, because I wasn't shy to point out some shortcomings of areas that they eliminated as they were going through their cuts on the project to save money. But there are a few areas that were value engineered out that are going to end up being long-term maintenance issues.
Wow.
And, it's what happens when you do things on public buildings that you really shouldn't do. But anyway, it probably saved them, $20 here, and they're going to end up paying, thousands of dollars later. And if anybody wants to know those details, I'm happy to share them. The other one is yesterday, I just popped in, and I was really well received to listen in on the Nauset Regional School Committee's subcommittee meeting that's reviewing our comments from the towns on the regional school agreement. As you can see, I took a few notes, but I'll just say, we're very respectful of the town's asks. Some of them, again, this is a whole learning process, but the Department elementary and secondary education just drives so much of what they do. And to me, this was a learning process. And I did say to them as the meeting was wrapping up, remember, we started this by just asking for a 3-year averaging for allocating our cost, and it's turned into, about a 15-page, we'd like to edit this, and because the agreement had not been touched in 20 years. So that's moving. And then the last thing is, Kim and I have tomorrow kind of a roll-up-the-sleeves first look at how we deal now with the data that's come out of the efficiency and education strategic study that is going on, and it's going to be an interesting meeting. I read the materials, Kim, and I have a lot of questions. I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to do what they want us to do. I mean, we're going to have these breakout groups, and we're going to do these things. I'm not ready. I mean, but we still need better demographics. We still need some,
It's okay to challenge their assumptions,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah. So that's coming up tomorrow, but I won't belabor our meeting because that's more to report in the future. But that's what I got. And next item, future agenda items?
I just asked for one, so.
Yeah, I got that. One, Michael, we've got you doing CPC project presentation next
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
So
I think you-
that's there.
All the backup materials have been sent.
Good.
And yeah, it's just to review what they voted. And
Yeah.
if anybody wants any additional information or homework prior to that,
Yeah.
please watch the CPC meeting.
Good. Anything else?
At 6:04, I move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor? I have to do this by roll call. Mr. Matheson?
I, Mark Matheson.
I'm Michael Harmon.
Hi, Andrea Reed.
And I, Kevin Galligan. We are